Level 1. The marketplace is your temple. You wake before the sun does, not because someone told you to, but because the questions won't let you sleep. They never have. You walk through Athens barefoot, the stones cold beneath your feet, the city still half dreaming, and you smile because you are the only man in this city who knows that he knows nothing. And somehow, that knowledge feels like the heaviest treasure anyone has ever carried. The agora fills slowly. Merchants, soldiers, poets, politicians. All of them rushing somewhere. All of them certain of things. You stop a young man near the olive stalls. Tell me, you say. What is courage? He answers quickly, proudly, like a student who memorized the lesson. And you nod and ask one more question, then another and another, until his certainty crumbles like old bread. He walks away frustrated, maybe angry, but somewhere behind his eyes, something woke up. That is enough for you. That has always been enough. You don't want followers. You don't want statues. You want people to think, to feel the discomfort of an examined thought, because an unexamined life is no life at all. Level 2. The voice inside your head. There is a voice. There has always been a voice. Not a god, not a ghost. Something quieter than both. You call it your daimon. A divine whisper that stops you before a wrong step. It never tells you what to do, only what not to do. And you have learned to trust it more than any law carved in marble. People think you are strange for this. Some think you are dangerous, a man who hears voices, who questions the gods, who makes young men doubt what they were taught. Yes, you can see how that frightens them, but you were not born to comfort the frightened. You were born to disturb the comfortable. You walk past the temple of Athena today. The priests are chanting. The incense curls upward like a slow question, and you wonder if the gods truly wanted blind obedience. Why did they give us minds sharp enough to doubt them? The diamond says nothing. Perhaps even it doesn't know. And that silence feels more honest than any answer. Level 3. When you loved someone completely. Her name was Xanthippe, and no one could understand you two. They called her sharp-tongued, difficult, impossible. You called her honest because she never pretended with you. In a city full of masks, she was always a face. You remember the first years. Small house, cold winters, not much bread, but so many conversations that lasted until the oil in the lamp ran out. She would argue with you, loudly, without mercy, and you would smile across the table because there is nothing more intimate than a woman who refuses to let you be lazy with your thinking. She gave you children, she gave you a home, and you gave her a husband who spent his days in the marketplace talking to strangers for free. You were not a perfect husband. You knew that. You chose philosophy over profit, questions over comfort, the life of the mind over the stability of a household. And she stayed anyway. Maybe that is the truest proof of love. Not the easy days, but the ones where someone chooses to remain even when they have every reason to leave. You look at your youngest son sometimes and you see her fire in his eyes, and you think, the best thing I ever gave this world might not be any argument. It might be him. Level 4. The man who thought he was wise. Word reached you once about the oracle at Delphi. Someone had asked the Pythia, is there any man wiser than Socrates? And the oracle said, no. You laughed when you heard this, because you, of all people, knew it couldn't be true. You knew too much about what you didn't know. So you went looking for someone wiser. You visited the politicians first, men draped in authority and certainty. They spoke beautifully about justice, about virtue, about what was good for Athens. But when you asked them why, when you pressed them just beneath the surface, there was nothing there, just words built on other words, castles made of air. You visited the poets next, men who touched something true, but couldn't explain what they'd touched, as if the muse had spoken through them without leaving them a translation. Then the craftsman, ah, here, finally, real knowledge. A shoemaker knows leather, a builder knows stone. But then they made the mistake of thinking that because they knew one thing well, they knew all things. And you realized The oracle was right, not because you were wise, but because you were the only one who hadn't confused confidence with knowledge. And in a world full of confident fools, perhaps the most revolutionary thing you could be was a man who simply said, I don't know. Level 5. The sons of Athens begin to listen. They come to you younger every year, boys with sharp eyes and restless minds, sons of wealthy men, sons of no one important. It doesn't matter to you. The mind has no bloodline. A question belongs to whoever has the courage to ask it. Alcibiades comes most often, beautiful, brilliant, dangerously ambitious. You see both his greatness and his ruin in the same conversation. You try to reach the part of him that thinks before the part of him that wants. Maybe you succeed. Maybe you don't. History will say you didn't. But you remember a moment, just one evening at sunset near the harbor, when he sat beside you in silence for a very long time. No words, just the water, the light, the questions hanging between you. And in that moment, he was not the future destroyer of armies. He was just a young man, sitting next to the only person who had ever told him something he didn't want to hear. That is what you do. You hold up a mirror. Not a flattering one, a clear one. And some people see themselves truly for the first time, and some people, they smash the mirror and hate the man who held it. Level 6. The city begins to turn. You feel it before you understand it. A coldness in certain eyes. A conversation that stops when you walk past. Invitations that stop arriving. Athens is changing. The war with Sparta has left wounds that won't close. There is fear in the air now. The kind of fear that needs someone to blame. A city in pain always looks for a sacrifice. And you, the barefoot man who questions everything, you are a very convenient answer to a question nobody wants to truly examine. Meletus comes first, young, righteous, burning with borrowed conviction. He accuses you of impiety, of corrupting the youth of Athens. You look at him and you think, this boy has never had an original thought. He is someone else's weapon. And then Anytus, a politician, a man of influence. You had embarrassed him once, in public, with nothing but questions. Funny how that kind of wound never heals. And Lycon, the orator, you barely know him, but that doesn't matter now. 3 men, 1 charge, corrupting the youth, disrespecting the gods, and you feel something settle in your chest. Not fear, not yet. Something almost like recognition, as if you always knew this moment was coming, as if the examined life had always been leading here. Level 7, the trial. 500 judges, 501 men. That is your jury. You look at them and you think, this is Athens. This is the city I have loved. These are the men I have walked among. Some of them I know by name. Some of them I've argued with, laughed with. Some of them I've made uncomfortable. Your friends urge you to prepare a defense, to apologize, to be humble, to perform remorse, to say what they want to hear so that they will let you live. And your daemon says nothing, because it is not telling you not to fight. It is simply watching. You stand before the 500. No written speech, no rehearsed humility. Just you. Just the truth as you have always lived it. Men of Athens, you say, I do not know whether you have been persuaded by my accusers. But I know this. I will speak the truth, and only the truth. Even here, you explain your life not as a defense, as a testimony. You were placed in this city like a gadfly on a horse to sting it awake, to keep it from the comfortable sleep of ignorance. If you stop, the horse sleeps, and a sleeping city does not survive. You can hear them shifting, some nodding, some scowling, and you think it doesn't matter. A life lived in truth does not need an audience to validate it. Level 8, the vote. 280 against you, 280, 221 for you. Guilty. The word moves through the room like a stone dropped in still water. Ripples, silence, then noise. Now they must decide the sentence. Meletus calls for death. Your friends, desperate, panicked, beg you to suggest exile. Exile. Leave Athens, go somewhere else. Keep living, keep talking, keep asking questions somewhere that doesn't know you yet. You almost smile because they don't understand. They think you are attached to surviving, but you have spent your entire life asking what it means to live well. And a life purchased through compromise, through abandoning the only thing that made it meaningful, is not a life. It is a performance. You stand. Perhaps I should be given free meals at the Prytaneum for my service to Athens. Laughter, anger, you don't retreat. Fine, I will pay a fine, a small one. It is all I have. You are not trying to provoke them. You are being honest, and honesty, you are learning today, is the most dangerous thing a man can offer a frightened crowd. The second vote comes, 360 against you now. More than voted you guilty. Your honesty cost you 80 extra votes, and you nod, slowly, as if you expected this, as if this was always the only possible ending for a man who refused to stop telling the truth. Level 9, 30 days. The last conversations. They do not execute you immediately. A sacred ship has sailed to Delos. While it is gone, no blood may be shed. So you wait 30 days in a cell made of stone and silence, and something unexpected happens. You are happy, not the desperate happiness of someone pretending. Something quieter, deeper. A man who has nothing left to lose finally has everything. Your friends come daily. Crito, faithful, practical Crito, arrives with a plan. Guards have been bribed. A boat is waiting. You can be in Thessaly by morning. He sits across from you with tears he's trying to hide. Socrates, he says, I cannot watch them kill you. Not when I could prevent it. You look at him for a long time. This man who has been your friend since before either of you were old. If we escape, you say gently, what do we take with us? He doesn't understand. We take our lives, he says. And what else? You ask. What do we leave behind? And slowly, painfully, he begins to understand. You cannot spend your life arguing that laws must be just and then break them the moment they become inconvenient for you. You cannot teach others to accept death as natural and then run from your own. The argument you have spent your whole life making requires you to stay, to drink the cup, to mean it. Crito weeps quietly. You talk through the night about the soul, about what comes after, about whether death is a dreamless sleep or a door into something you've been curious about your whole life. And honestly, the curiosity almost excites you, almost. Level 10, the hemlock, the last thing you feel. The morning comes without asking. It always does. Your wife is here with your youngest son. She is weeping before she reaches you. You hold her the way you always did, firmly, fully, without looking away. Go home. You tell her softly, not because you don't love her, because you do, because you do not want her last image of you to be a man dying. You want her to keep the other images, the conversations, the laughter, the cold mornings. She goes, and the room becomes strangely peaceful. Your friends sit around you, Phaedo, Sebes, Simmias, Crito, all of them crying or trying not to. You look at their faces and you feel something vast and warm. These men, these beautiful grieving men. Why are you weeping? You ask. Should I not grieve? Phaedo says. You may grieve, you say, but not for me. The jailer enters. He apologizes. He actually apologizes to you, and you thank him because this man was kind to you during these 30 days. And small kindnesses deserve to be named. The cup is brought. Hemlock. You look at it. Just a cup. Just a liquid. Just the next thing. What do I do? You ask the jailer. Drink it, he says, and walk around until your legs feel heavy. You nod, as if he's given you directions to the marketplace. You lift the cup. Your friends break. Some turn away. Some weep openly. And you say quietly to all of them, no one knows whether death is the greatest of all goods for mankind, but people fear it as if they know it is the greatest of all evils. You drink all of it without hesitation. You walk. The room is very quiet now except for crying. You walk until your legs begin to grow heavy. You lie down. The jailer presses your foot. Can you feel this? No, you say. And he moves upward. You look at the ceiling. You think of the diamond. It is quiet. It has been quiet all day. Maybe because for the first time, there is nothing left to stop. Everything from here is right. The cold moves up slowly, like a tide coming in. And your mind, that mind that never stopped asking, reaches for one final question: what is this? Not with fear, with something very close to wonder. Your chest grows still. Your friends are saying your name, and the last thing you feel is not pain. It is not regret. It is the strange, weightless peace of a man who lived exactly as he believed and died the same way. Crito leans close. Socrates, is there anything you want? Any last thing? And somewhere in the fading, you almost smile, because after a lifetime of questions, you finally have an answer you cannot share. The unexamined life is not worth living, but the examined life, it costs everything, and it is worth every coin.